From the Weather NorCal Command Center, this is your evening update.
Daniels Roofing, licensed, bonded, insured roofing contractor. 45 years of generational expertise, offering a variety of roofing systems in the North State. Composition shingles, metal, tile, fire-safe wood shingles, and spray foam roofing systems. An energy-saving cool roof, perfect for commercial flat roofs and mobile homes. With other companies, you may get a foreman or a salesman. But with Daniels Roofing, you get Daniel. Call today for your free estimate. Daniels Roofing, 3 generations working hard to protect your home and business.
Good evening, everyone. Meteorologist Mike Kruger here. Here is your evening update. Now, the main focus for today has been those gusty winds, the elevated fire danger as a result. But as the winds subside, especially going into tomorrow, our focus is now going to be on the heat. All right, so let's get into Kruger's Quickcast first and foremost for those of you who just want to know what to expect tonight and into tomorrow. So for tonight, still a little breezy in some spots here, and that will keep that fire danger elevated in some areas, especially for some of those mountain ridges. But there you can see we're looking at temperatures tonight into tomorrow morning, low to mid 60s on average for the valley. So yeah, it's going to start off a little bit cooler. Temperatures in the 40s for most of the higher elevations and low to mid 50s as we take you to the coast. Let's take a look at your out the door forecast for your Tuesday morning, October 1st. And you can see temperatures, again, dropping a little bit, but still pretty mild even in the valley with temperatures mid-60s there. And then you can see, this is 8 o'clock in the morning, by the way, as you're heading out the door. Temperatures should be somewhere in the mid to upper 40s for many of the higher elevations, although Siskiyou County, mid-50s, upper 50s, Trinity County, and low 50s for the coast. But no fog is expected for the coast, at least for the next 24 hours. All right, so the winds. You see a little gusty in some spots here, even this evening. Let's take you to tomorrow morning, because tomorrow morning is another area of concern here as we still have over some of the higher elevations, especially the foothills. We have those greens and even some yellows indicating over 20, 25 miles per hour. Okay, then we go into tomorrow at the midday. You see how the winds are subsiding. So again, not as much of a concern, especially for the second half of the day on Tuesday. Now, as far as the fog is concerned, there isn't any. There's tomorrow morning for the coast. It's looking pretty nice. Now that fog bank is going to work its way closer by tomorrow night, but it's not until really Wednesday morning that we do start to see some more fog for some of us on the coast. We'll get into that a little bit later in our deeper dive forecast. But there it is. You've been hearing about it for the last several days that the triple digits are returning to the valley, and that's certainly going to be the case. I'm expecting upper 90s to over 100 degrees here by tomorrow for the valley, and in the 80s and 90s for the higher elevations, even pretty warm for the coast with temperatures there, upper 60s, maybe even touching 70 in some of the warmer spots as well. So a quick look at your 7-day outlook. The peak will be tomorrow and Wednesday. Temperatures slowly dropping as we go into the weekend and even into early next week. We take a look at your 7-day outlook for the coast, mid 60s, give or take for the next 7 days. No big surprises there, no heat wave for the coast, right? But inland, and for Weaverville, right around 100 degrees for Tuesday, Wednesday. Temperatures dropping slowly as we go into the weekend and early next week. For Siskiyou County, Modoc County, and the Eastern Mountains, also seen that slight dip. In fact, a nice drop in the temperatures. Should be back down into the low 80s by the time we get to the second half of the weekend, really this weekend, and into early next week. All right, that's Kruger's Quickcast. Now let's get you into your deeper dive forecast. So we do expect weaker winds the rest, that's a typo, but the rest of the week. Summer heat returns through midweek with a gradual drop in the temperatures, but still hot. Yes, we're seeing our temperatures drop, but it will still be above normal in most cases here. And, looking down the line here, next 10 days plus, it's dry. There's no rain in the forecast anytime soon. All right, so let's talk about those winds again. 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, as I mentioned, still a little gusty in some spots, especially for some of the foothills. But by tomorrow afternoon, winds no longer a concern. And even into Wednesday, we're going to be looking at those weaker winds as well. You can still see upwards of around 10, close to 20 miles per hour in some of the higher elevations and pretty gusty along the coast, but overall, not much of a concern. So we look at the humidity levels, and yes, we're still in the single digits. It's still very dry out there. And that's going to be the case on Tuesday. That's going to be the case on Wednesday. And you guessed it, that's going to be the case as we go into Thursday as well. All right, so the fire weather risk here as we go into your Tuesday, it's still high. Even though we have the winds more from the south, we're still going to be in that high, moderate to high range here for most of us in the valley for your Tuesday. And we take you into your Wednesday, and you see that it does drop. So that's good. However, again, keep in mind, still hot, still dry. It's just the winds won't be that much of a factor. So we still need to be aware of the fact that the hot and dry conditions still keep that fire danger elevated. So there's that fog bank getting closer through the day on Tuesday. By the time you get to Wednesday morning, yeah, now we're starting to see, especially around Humboldt Bay, around Eureka, maybe some fog, but that'll quickly dissipate as we go into the afternoon hours. More sunshine for your Wednesday. Your precipitation outlook, yeah, unfortunately, it is going to be drier than normal. But here's the overall trend. We've got this ridge of high pressure that is going to be building over the next few days. But what's going to prevent it from getting as hot as it could, and yes, it's going to get hot. You saw those temperatures in the 7-day outlooks, over 100 degrees for many of us in the valley. But these storm systems are kind of the saving grace, if you will. Because if they weren't there, this ridge would be allowed to build even stronger and temperatures would be even hotter. So we can thank the fact that we've got these storm systems right to the north, kind of flattening out the ridge a bit. Now, as I mentioned, temperatures are slowly dropping through the rest of the week after Wednesday. That's because we have a storm system that's approaching that's going to squash the ridge over the eastern Pacific, but we still have the ridge over the desert southwest. That's going to expand into our region, but again, not as much as it would like. Why? Because this is right here digging to the south. However, as we go into the weekend, that rides up to the north, again, keeps that heat from building in. However, as we go into the weekend, temperatures still above normal. Going into early next week, Monday, Tuesday, that ridge of high pressure reestablishes itself over the eastern Pacific. Not as strong as we're seeing this week, but we still have that ridge of high pressure. But these storms to our north are what are preventing that from getting as warm. But bottom line, it's going to be warmer than normal as we extend out over the next 7 to 10 days. So these temperatures are going to stay summer-like, if you will, through the extended. Now, we look at the fact that there is some relief in sight. Yes, we're kind of peaking for your Tuesday, Wednesday, but temperatures kind of slowly just dropping. And in fact, we should maybe, just maybe, drop to right around or just below normal by the end of next week. Next week, right? So we still have a long way to go before we start getting at least closer to normal. It's still going to be above normal for quite some time here. So buckle up, folks. The summer heat, it's sticking around for a while. Let's take a look at those wave heights, and you can see not changing a whole lot going into your Tuesday afternoon. They may get a little bit higher for your Wednesday. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at your forecast for tonight. As mentioned, temperatures mid-60s, give or take, for the valley, 40s for the higher elevations, low 50s for the coast here for tonight. No fog for the coast. I mean, you're going to be looking at clear skies tonight. There's the heat. We're back up to 100 degrees or higher for many of us in the Trinity County region. They're going to see 99 for High and Palm, 95 degrees for Ruth. But what you'll see really across the board, minus the coast, where temperatures basically staying in the mid-60s, but everywhere else, after Wednesday, should start to see a dip in those temperatures, but still most likely above normal for most of us. 103 for Orleans, 100 in Hoopa, Willow Creek, 102. It's going to be a hot day out there tomorrow. Temperatures getting close to, if not right around 70, about 70 degrees for places like Crescent City. Take a look at your Siskiyou County neighborhood forecast. We're back down to the 80s at least by the weekend and early next week, but I mean, right around 90, upper 80s to about 90 for the next several days. And there you can see Gazelle about 89, 93 for Etna. Dunsmuir, you'll top out at about 94. You take a look at your Modoc County neighborhood forecast. Temperatures mid to upper 80s. 88 for Canby, 86 for Calpines, as well as Alturas. So you can see these temperatures are eventually dropping down to the low 80s by the weekend and early next week. Your Eastern Mountains neighborhood forecast. Again, kind of that stretch here. We're going from Viola about 84 up to about 90 for Susanville, 94 for Paradise, but low to mid 80s by the weekend and early next week. All right, let's take a look at your Valley neighborhood forecast brought to you by Walgamuth Painting. Let's see if my clicker can work. There it is. All right, your Valley neighborhood forecast brought to you by Walgamuth Painting. Those temperatures. Now, some of us may just dodge that triple-digit mark, especially to the south. But for all intents and purposes, it'll be about 100 degrees here for tomorrow. 102 for Redding, 102 for the city of Shasta Lake, as well as Bella Vista. 101 for Cottonwood, Red Bluff, a high of about 100. Temperatures upper 90s for places like Lakehead and Whiskeytown. All right, so let's take a look at that 7-day outlook for Redding. Temperatures right around 100 degrees, give or take, through Thursday. And then upper 90s for Friday, Saturday. Again, temperatures are dropping, but you see how we're still well above normal. The normal high in the valley is somewhere in the upper 80s. So we'll keep it well above that, at least for the next 7 days, if not longer. All right, that's your evening update. I'll be back tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. and live on Coffee with Kruger at 7 a.m. Have a good evening.